check out what I got lately. Whoops, not game share, not game share. Okay, which clip is it? Well, clearly... Oh yeah, I also got a shiny... While waiting for a space-time distortion, I noticed, doesn't that Carnivine look different? It didn't even sparkle. Damn, so close to the alpha one too. Oh yeah, I also traded for that shiny alpha Decidui. All of these are traded, by the way. I didn't catch any of these on my own, in case anyone was wondering. Don't know why I'm on the pause menu. Well, I don't know if you would even call this a pause menu. But I got a shiny Drifblim. That's cool. And then, where was the clip? Actually, I think I'm way too far. Oop. You already saw what that clip was. Which clip was it? Oh my god, I have so many clips, I don't even know anymore. What was this clip? Oh yeah, there we go. I got an Alpha Rampardos. Finally! And actually, this one came after like a day after the Alpha Granados. So finally, the Alpha Fossils are done. So I got an Alpha... That's not it. I got an Alpha Rampardos, and that was a shiny Drifblim. And then you already saw here, an Alpha Porygon 2. But wait, didn't I catch a clip? Did I not catch a clip? Maybe I didn't. Damn, did I really not catch a clip? Because I got another one before this, but whatever. An Alpha Porygon 2. Anyways, you get the idea. Alpha Porygon 2, and then this one, what was this one? Oh yeah, Shiny Luxio. Cool, you don't need to see the whole clip. And for this one here, a shiny Eevee. And I think that's all the clips I have. I could have sworn I had another one, but whatever. So, I got an Alpha Rampardos. So, the Alpha Fossils are finally done. And I'm so glad, too. You know, because I got Alpha Granados. When did I get this? I got this July 6th. And then this one here, I think I got a day... Yeah, a day later. How lucky. But that's not all. I also got not only Alpha Porygon 2, but Porygon Z! I actually got Porygon Z first. And I think this was the very first distortion I did in the Crimson Mirelands. Yeah, see? This is the same day I got Rampardos. See? Now, while I'm ecstatic that I got Porygon Z and Porygon 2 Alpha, I wish I got the clip for this. Because I didn't even see it spawn in. It was just in the background. I saw the two glowing eyes. I didn't even know what it was. I walked up to it, and it was a Porygon Z. Damn, I wish I got the clip. But, you know, this is exactly what I was afraid of. I got Porygon 2 and Porygon Z. Sure, that's very lucky, but if I get another one of these two Alpha, well, crap. If I were to get multiple Porygons Alpha, I could evolve it up. But if I get another one of these two, I can't evolve it down. So I have to get an Alpha Porygon. And then after, I still have the Alpha Magnemite line to do, and then that's it. I'm done with the Alphas. My Alpha decks will be done. Oh yeah, speaking of alpha, so I did get an alpha Umbreon. Not like that's a big deal. I've gotten like 5 to spawn. But I am also looking for a female alpha Umbreon, because that's a secondary challenge I'm doing now. So here are some of the shinies I've gotten recently. Here are the shinies that you saw. I don't know if you saw these ones, but whatever. And I gotta tell you, the space-time distortions in the Crimson Mirelands, much easier than the Coronet Highlands. Because Coronet Highlands, I would have to worry about the weather conditions so much. Very often is there either a blizzard or a thunderstorm, like it happened all the time. So the weather was a real pain in the Coronet Highlands. But for the Crimson Mirelands, all I really have to look out for is a thunderstorm. There is no blizzard there, so all I really need to look out for is a thunderstorm. Sure, there could also be intense sun too, but I could simply just circumvent that by changing it to nighttime before I start waiting. Thus, there is no intense sun. So I have been getting space-time distortions to spawn super fast, super frequently in the Crimson Mirelands compared to the Coronet Highlands, and it is wonderful. However, I feel like the same concern will happen with the Cobalt Coastlands, because thunderstorms will happen, intense sun as well. But same thing, I could just turn it to nighttime to prevent intense sun. But I just get the feeling that thunderstorms will be much more frequent there. Because thunderstorms aren't that frequent in the Crimson Mirelands, like, at all. I only had it happen, like, 3 times overall. So yeah, there's my update on the Alpha decks. Porygon 2 and Porygon Z, as well as Rampardos and an Alpha Umbreon. So I am now 4 away. 4 away from finishing my Alpha decks. Finally. This has taken months. And I didn't do the pussy way, where I start a new file, play up to being banished, and, you know, do it there, because the space-time distortions will spawn more frequently there. I honestly could have done that. I was debating to, but then I thought, nah. I kind of want to see this challenge through, where I get every alpha in this file. One file. No cheesing it by playing through the whole game again just to be banished and having space-time distortions more frequently. No, none of that cheesing it. Nah, I want to do this all from this file. I want to get all alphas from the same file, all the same trainer ID. And luckily, the most painful part is out of the way, being the fossils. Because another benefit that the Crimson Mireland has, and the Coronet Coastland... Whatever. There's too many C's. It's so hard to remember. Cobalt Coastlands. The Crimson Mirelands and the Cobalt Coastlands, one advantage they have compared to Coronet Highlands is the smaller smaller pool of spawns. In the Coronet Highlands, there are 3 evolution lines that could spawn. You have the Rowlet line, the Shieldon line, and the Cranidos line. So you have 3 different Pokemon that could spawn. 3 of their evolution lines, that is. Thus diluting the spawns much more. However, in the other 2, it's really just either the starter or the space-time distortion exclusive spawn, making it much easier. So I will continue my alpha hunts. Here, you guys want to hear some good news? So I have some things to ramble about before we talk about the shows. Another episode of Spider Noir and Amazing Digital Circus. Spider Noir has been nothing but excellent so far, and I have a lot to say about Digital Circus this next episode. Okay, so first of all, today, I mean, this is kind of good news. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't begin with that. Okay, so let me begin with this. A couple days ago, well, I wasn't able to play this a couple nights ago because that was the night that my sister and her husband were planning to tell my dad that they are expecting, that my sister seemingly is pregnant. So I couldn't play this that night because my family wanted me to record Dad's reaction, and indeed, tears did flow. I mean, this is my dad's first grandkid, so of course he would be happy. I'll be honest, I don't know how happy my grandfather would be. Sure, he finally has a great grandkid, but it's coming from his granddaughter. He really wants me to give him a grandkid, his grandson, to give him, ideally, I bet, a great-grandson, but I'm sorry, Grandpa. I don't know if I can give you that anytime soon, if ever. Like I said before, the bloodline may not end with me, but the last name will. Well, that's not entirely true. My cousin still has a chance. He's still young. He could have kids one day. So anyways, yeah, that was a couple nights ago. They told Dad, and they wanted me to record that. So I needed to wait for them to get home, and I needed to be ready to start filming, right? So I couldn't be here and do this, because I had to wait for that to happen. So that was the other night, and what day was this? Whatever it was, I think it was Wednesday. Yeah, it was this past Wednesday because today is Friday. So, this past Wednesday, if you remember what I said, I was saying I haven't gotten a single day off this entire week. Like this week, I worked 7 days a week. My laziest shit sister doesn't show up to work half the day. Half the time, not half the day. Like half the week she doesn't show up. And like I said, Wednesday was the only day this week where I had nothing planned. Like, I didn't have to go into the family store, or I wasn't called into the brand new job, and I didn't have my once a week part-time on Wednesday. So I was thinking, alright, if I were to have a day off this week, it would be Wednesday. But nope! Nope. Early in the morning, I asked my sister which one of us is going into work, and she said, of course it's you! I have to go to the doctor, and I'm just like, fuck me, because, yeah, this week I worked 7 days a week. I don't get a day off. Oh, excuse me. On Fridays, my part-time in the morning, I get to go home after I'm done. And that's the exact logic my family has, or my mom has. She's just like, what are you complaining about? What do you mean you don't have a day off? Once you're done your job on Friday mornings, you get to go home. What are you complaining about? So according to that, I get to wake up early in the morning and go to work on my day off. How nice. Oh yeah, just like how that was the case last week. Because last Friday, I also had to fill in for my sister after my morning part-time. Oh yeah, I get to go home after that. Yeah. Yeah, totally. Anyway, so yeah, this week I worked 7 days a week. Yeah, my sister went to the doctor to get the ultrasound, get the picture to show Dad, so like... she could have still came in afterwards and I could have gone home, but no. Nope. Uh-uh. And you know what the bitch of it is, too? So I complain to my family all the time, like, this is so unfair. She doesn't show up to work half of the week. And I'm the one who has to work 3 jobs. Nobody gives a shit about me, because they all say, yeah, what of it, loser? You're a boy, you should be doing 3 jobs. In fact, you should be working more! You wanna know what? My dad told me that, son, now that your sister is married, you need to work more. You need to work even harder. And I'm just thinking, I'm sorry, did I miss something? I missed where that's my problem. She's married now. What the fuck does that have to do with me? Why do I have to work harder now that she's married? Like, excuse me? You guys know my current story, right? How this new job, I only got it because of a coworker who once worked for us quite a few years ago. Well, she got this job, but she's pregnant, and she's going to have her kid in the next couple of months. So she needs a replacement when she has her kid. And that replacement is me. I tell you this because she is pregnant, like she is less than 2 months away from the birth. And she's still working. My sister, though? Hell no. According to them, I think it's only been like 7 weeks. There's still like 30 more weeks to go, but, you know, at the moment, it's only been like 7 weeks. And she refuses. She barely goes into work. My coworker, on the other hand, she is like maybe a month away, and she still works. What kind of bullshit is this? So anyways, a little bit of a side topic that kind of relates. So earlier today, because today is Friday, today when I went into my part-time, so they know that I have a new job now, and that at this new job, I need to have my license hung up. Like my certification, my license hung up on the wall. Another goddamn Luxio. So they know I need to have my certification up. Well, actually, let me catch this first. What the hell? That tree's hitbox is insane! Aw, man, I hesitated. Whatever, I should be able to catch it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you guys. Yesterday, I got this! I got a shiny Talonflame. And the IVs actually weren't that bad. I think it was 15, 11, 15. Not bad! A shiny Talonflame! And I think I forgot to show you guys this. I got this a while ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. A shiny Floette! This new update is awesome, where it allows you to find fully evolved or just evolved Pokemon shiny. This update is awesome. And not necessarily the same. Last week, I did also pull this, the gold Munchlax card. Nice! Anyway, so back to the story. So earlier today at my part-time, my part-time job, which I do once a week. So they know that I have a new job now, and that for this new job, I need to have my license hung up, like my certification, my, you know, the fact that I graduated college and I got certified for this, my license. And what's interesting is, this is the second time I was asked, does this new job of yours need to have it hung up? Does it need to display your license? And I'm just like, yeah. Yeah, probably, yes. And then I'm just told, oh, okay, because in case we open a location in the future, that's all. So, if you need me to break that down for you, So part of the reason why I even got this part-time in the first place, it's because this is like a business partner of ours with the family store. So I go in once a week. It used to be on Mondays, but now they moved it to Fridays. So I go in once a week, in hopes that one day, if they do open a store, like an actual retail store, then I can just be one of the immediate hires because I'm licensed, I'm certified, and I've already been helping out. If they one day open a retail store, they could just hire me on the spot. Just bring me right in. And today was the first time they actually hinted at that potentially being in the future. So what this means is, what, fourth job incoming? Potentially? Maybe. Now, this may sound like good news, but this is just an update, you know? This is still years away if this were to happen, right? Right now, they're just throwing the idea around that if they were to open a store in the future, even if they told me today that yes, we are absolutely going to, 100%, it would still be quite a ways away because they need to find a location to open the store. Um, uh, Crap, what's the word? Renovate it. They need to find a location, they need to renovate it, they need to open, get the business afloat, whatever other business deals or whatnot. So yeah, even if they told me today that yes, we 100% are planning to, it's already all done, all we need to do is actually open the damn store, that would still be like months away at least, right? But right now, it's still just an idea, a flickering idea in the neurons of their heads. So nothing set yet, nothing concrete. Oh yeah, before me doing this, now that my dad knows about my sister, and, now that both my parents know, what they were doing just before me being here doing this is that they were reorganizing my sister's room to add another bed. That way her husband can actually sleep here sometimes, in case he ever needs to. Because he actually doesn't sleep here. At least not very often. Whenever he does, he just shares a bed with my sister, the tiny little bed that's not meant for two. So tonight, I had to help them clean the mattresses, lift it up from the basement to my sister's room. And you know what? This actually reminded me that quite a few years ago, quite a long time ago actually, maybe up to a decade, I completely forgot that in my bedroom, my room, my bed used to be on the other side of the wall. Or not the wall, the other side of the room. Like, it used to face the complete opposite direction. And I remember, damn, this was back in high school too. High school was a long time ago. I graduated college. I remember a long time ago, one day coming home from high school, my entire room was reorganized. Like, the table was on the other side of the room, and so was the bed. And that was because Chinese New Year, feng shui, it had to be moved to bring more positive energy. At the time, I'm just like, what the fuck? You just reorganized my room without asking me. You just did it. And now I have to get used to it. Like, what the fuck? Over time, I did get used to it, but at the time, it's like, well, what the hell, man? You didn't even ask me to reorganize my goddamn room. Like, not even reorganize, rearrange it. You didn't even ask me, you just did it. That was a long time ago. You know what, I'll do this first. So anyways, so while at my part-time today, hearing the news of, potential fourth job. Oh yeah, what's funny is, my friends one of my friends said, "Damn, bro, you have 3 jobs. You are single-handedly keeping the unemployment rate down." And I'm thinking to myself, wouldn't I keep it up? Or whichever one. Wouldn't I keep it... Whichever one means that less people are being hired. You know? Would that be keeping it down or keeping it up? I think it's keeping it up. Wouldn't I be keeping the unemployment rates up because I have 3 jobs? So I have all the jobs. No one else can have them. They're all mine. Wouldn't I be keeping the unemployment rates up? Anyway, so today at my part-time, when I was super giddy and I told them potential 4th job incoming in the future, maybe. Um, Somehow the conversation devolved to, like, questioning me about, alright, you got your 4th job, maybe. How are your savings? Because I know you recklessly spend, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I do. I was tempted the other day to spend over $200 on Shopville just to buy some old games, because with Sony killing physical games, not only are the existing physical games going to be harder to find in the future, but also because these are old games, the prices are only going to go up as time goes on. Certain games I really should have bought, but never did for whatever reason. Kirby Triple Deluxe for the 3DS, Mortal Kombat X, or XL for the PlayStation. I just never bought those games. But because over $200 of purchases gets you free shipping, otherwise you pay $10 for free shipping. Wait, what? Otherwise you pay $10 for shipping, $200 you get free shipping. I just browsed around to see what other games I never got. There was Persona Q, there was Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes. What was the other one? There was one more. Oh yeah, Smash for 3DS. I never bought that game because I had it for Wii U. All in all, came out after tax of like $265. But hey, free shipping. You might be thinking, you don't have to spend that much if you just wanted 2 games. You don't need to spend over $200 just to save on $10 shipping. Yeah, but keep in mind what I said earlier. Physical games are only going to be harder to find, and these ones being old games, the prices are only going to go up. So, if I don't buy them now, it'll just be way worse in the future. Anyways, that's a whole side tangent aside. So, yeah, my friends were wondering, how are your savings, by the way? If you have all these jobs, you're working your ass off, how are your savings? And I'm just like, bruh, let me tell you, I probably spend all my paychecks. Because, oof, I still got a lot of things I want to buy. A Mega Yarn Yoshi amiibo on eBay is at least $300 minimum. I just found out about the Byleth Dancer statue. That one's almost like $300 as well. So then I kind of got roasted, like, bruh, don't you want to move out? You always complain about how stupid your family is, how ruinous choices they make. Don't you want to move out and get away from them? It's like, yeah. Well, then stop recklessly spending. If you stop spending all your money you saved up, you probably would be able to afford a place of your own by now. And I tried to, in a way, I tried to cope, and I tried to tell them, yeah, but in this economy, let's face it, with real estate prices only going up, they're not going down, they're only going up. Yeah, me moving out anytime soon is just not happening. And as much as independence would be nice, in a way it's like, well, it's almost, in this day and age, it's almost pointless to move out. You know? You pay for your freedom, your independence. I mean, for God's sake, my uncle and my cousin still lives with Grandpa. Well, actually, I should put it like Grandpa lives with them. So, as much as I don't want to deal with my family's stupidity, well, that's just family. There is no cure for that. And then, in a way, they were kind of calling me a bitch for just taking all their shit and not standing up for myself, not doing anything. One of my friends even suggested if you were to move out, then you don't have to work for your family anymore. Like, you don't have to fill in for your sister. You don't have to fill in when your sister doesn't show up. And I'm just like, that's not exactly how that works. Just because I live somewhere else doesn't mean I don't go to the same place to work. Like, that's not exactly how that works, man. If I move out, I'll still have to go into work. I still have to fill in for her. There's no difference. He tried to say, yeah, but then you can't be told to come in. And then I rebutted saying, yes, but we have the internet and telephones. She can just call me to tell me to come into work because your sister's not coming into work. My friend said you could just not answer. And so I replied, man, I don't know how you deal with your mama's wrath, but I'd rather avoid that. I'd rather avoid mama's wrath by not answering her when she tells me I need to go into work. In the same conversation, we also were like... So I mentioned how, man, this is a problem none of you guys have, because you guys don't have sisters. Except for you, and you, and you. Oh, wait, this is the wrong group chat. Some of you guys do have sisters. But then they were like, yeah, we have sisters, but we don't have the same problem you do. Something, if I were to move out, man, I can't afford it. I can't afford a place of my own. Even if I started saving now, I cease all reckless purchases and I start saving now, man, I ain't got no money. I can't afford a place. And even by the time I do save up enough, the prices probably would have skyrocketed. So, TLDR, I'll just never be able to afford a place. And sure, moving out would be nice, but at this point in my life, it's not really necessary. So I also told them, like, man, given my family's reckless spending habits, my dad better be prepared to pay for his consequences. What? Pay the consequences of his actions if, and I said this before, if he simply smokes once in that car, I will refuse to drive it. So then my friend asked, like, well, what do you care, right? What would you do if your dad did smoke in the car? Simply not drive it. I explained to them how my dad bought this new car with the mindset for me and him to share it. For me to drive it to the new job because he doesn't want me driving my car. And if he does smoke in that car and I refuse to drive it, I'll just continue to drive Mom's car. Because he don't want me to drive mine. My friend tried to use the argument, well, you didn't buy the car, your dad did. Dad paid for the car. Right? So it's under Dad's name. Like, he can do whatever he wants with it. If he wants to smoke in it, then that's his choice. You know, you don't own the car. It's not yours. And I'm just like, did you miss the point? I don't care if I own the car or not. I just need a car to drive to work. And if he smokes in that car, the car that he intends for me and him to share, the car that he intends for me to drive to work with, if he smokes in it, I'm not driving it. End of argument. Like, I don't care who owns it. I don't care who paid for it. As long as I have a car to drive to work, that's it. That's all I need. So the conversation eventually divulged to, like, what do I want? Right? Like, I keep on complaining about my family, about my life. Like, what do I want? Well, I was like, well, first of all, I want them to change their mentalities, the way they live, the way they treat me, but that's not gonna happen, you know? Like, that's just not gonna happen. I get yelled at if I bring this up. I'll get called crazy, I'll get yelled at. Son, you're wrong, man. It's like, why would I even bother anymore? All I can do now is just simply avoid them as much as I can. And then we eventually, somehow the topic went to, do you want a girlfriend? Like, do you actually want to meet someone right now? Do you want to have a partner in life? And it's just like, yeah, I wasn't exactly shy about that in the past. Wasn't exactly shy about expressing that before. Yes. And then obviously the question came up like, what do you want in a woman? And I just said, the first thing I need is someone who's smart, because let's face it, someone like me who continuously makes ruinous choices, I need someone smart in my life. And what did my friend say? Because he said something that like, well, shit. Oh man, there's a lot of chat to scroll up to find exactly what he said. What did he say? Hold on. Whoops! I thought I was back at Jubilife. Okay. Okay, I told them I need someone smart because clearly I make ruinous choices. That's what I said. My friend replied, I hate to break it to you, but someone smart is not going to put up with trying to make you better choices. Wait. Wait. But someone smart is not going to put up with trying to make you make better choices, only for you to never listen. And continue complaining and repeating the cycle of what's making your life hard in the first place. And I was like, well, shit. I'm doomed. Doomed. I'll be alone forever. Doomed. Anyway, so I'm just like, man, you guys really want to know what I want? Like, what I really want in a person? Let's face it, this will never happen. I told them, well, no one ever takes my side. No one ever sides with me. No one at home ever sides with me, defends me. The fact that I work 3 jobs and I'm not even allowed to use a TV without being yelled at. No one at home ever takes my side, sees my argument, argues on my behalf, defends me. No one ever does that. All I ever get at home is being told, you fat, stupid idiot, you're wrong, go fuck yourself. And it's just like, you know what? That's what I want. I want someone who would actually see my side of the argument, understands where I'm coming from, and, you know, even goes so far as to defend me. I'm not saying I want an enabler, but, you know, I don't want a yes man, a yes woman. I don't want an enabler, but someone to take my side, someone to argue for me would be nice every now and then, you know? A friend of mine asked me, what would that look like to you? What would that sound like? And I just replied, you're right. You work 3 jobs and you're not even allowed to use a TV without being yelled at? You're right, that's not fair. You deserve better. Like something like that, hearing that said out loud, that'd be nice. But that's never happening. That's just not ever happening. And I've made peace with that. I've accepted that's not going to be the case, ever. very long ago. Why do you think my will to live has been non-existent for actually better part of like a decade now? You want to hear some fantasies I have? Like some genuine fantasies I have? And, of course, these are only fantasies. They'll never happen. All I can do is daydream and fantasize all I want that this will maybe one day be the case, despite knowing deep down, no, not happening. I mean, it's just a fantasy. A very cringe, stupid, lonely fantasy. But it's a fantasy nonetheless. So I've mentioned endlessly in the past that I don't speak Mandarin. I don't understand a word of Mandarin. It all sounds like gibberish to me. So you can say a full sentence in Mandarin to me, either praising me or cursing me out, and I won't know a word you said. So I don't understand Mandarin. And you know, the anime Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? You know that anime? I'll be honest, I haven't watched it yet. But, given the title, I can only assume. So here's a fantasy of mine that, oof, is just a pipe dream that'll never happen. Because sometimes I fantasize a girl will be... will confess her love to me, but in Mandarin, because she doesn't want me to actually know. So she will just confess her love to me in Mandarin like all the time, and I just stand there like I have no idea what you said. Absolutely no clue what you said. You know those cutesy anime moments where she like talks into a pillow like, "Oh my god, he's so cute, I can't take it." I know that's cringe and no one's ever going to say that about me. But it's just a fantasy I have sometimes. A girl will say that kind of stuff about me, but in Mandarin, and I will completely not understand what the hell she just said. It's just a fantasy I have. And let's face it, I would sooner take a bullet than that ever happening in this lifetime, in this world. I would sooner be shot before that ever happens. And you know statistically that's very true. Well, that's been my life recently. Hey, you know what? Let's change the topic. So, coming up is the 10th anniversary of Pokemon Go. 10 years of this mobile game slowly draining my money. And yes, I do pay for Pokemon Go. I just bought the second gold bottle cap. I plan to use it on my Eternatus. And then, watch, one day they will release the shiny. But my mind is made up. I have the second bottle cap purchased, and I plan to use it on Eternatus. I even held off on best buddying it for a whole year. Just because I know, naturally, while best buddying it, I will just naturally get a lot of hearts. It was the same case for when I used my first bottle cap, my gold bottle cap, on my shiny Charizard. Be gone, bot. Hold on. Get off the screen. Banned. There we go. Anyways, what was I saying? It was like when I used my first gold bottle cap in Pokemon Go on my shiny Charizard. And I just naturally got a lot of hearts, despite the fact that I already best buddied it. So I held off on best buddying my Eternatus because I know when I use my gold bottle cap on it, I'll just naturally get a ton of hearts. So that's my plan. I will use my gold bottle cap on my Eternatus that has no hearts, and I will go all the way to best buddying it. It won't take that long. Bare minimum, it takes like maybe a month, 3 weeks. So yeah, 10 years of Pokemon Go. You remember the very first trailer of Pokemon Go where they showed Mewtwo? Well, they actually did something like that in celebration for Pokemon Go in New York's Times Square. There was a whole stream about it, where all the trainers, all the Pokemon Go players who went, they were able to do super mega Mewtwo raids and catch Mewtwo's in guaranteed Master Balls. And I'm pretty sure that it was even guaranteed hundos given out. Like, at a point, everyone who was there and raided, 100% got a Mewtwo that was a hundo with the background. And if you were lucky enough, it could even be shiny. Damn, I wish I knew. I may have gone. I wish I knew about this. I didn't know this event was happening. I haven't really been... I'll be honest, I haven't really been keeping up with Pokemon Go news lately. They did also tease Arceus coming to the game in a new poster. But they have teased Pokemon in posters before. Some of them still have not made it to the game. Anyway, so, tomorrow, as of me playing this, tomorrow is Saturday, July 11th. Tomorrow is day 1 of the 10th anniversary Pokemon Go Fest. However, I will only be able to play tomorrow. I won't be able to play Sunday. I managed to get tomorrow not at the new job. So I will be able to play Saturday, but I won't be able to play Sunday because I gotta go work at the new job. Shit. Damn, I don't really have a lot of things I want from this Go Fest. All I really want, honestly, is a good Mewtwo, and that's it. I think Shiny Tropius and Bouffalont are in incenses. That'd be cool to try to get. But me personally, all I really want, legit, is just a good Mewtwo. That's it. It could be either shiny or not shiny. That's all I want, a good Mewtwo. A background would be nice. I don't really care too much about backgrounds, but it'd be nice to have. Like, that's all I want. A hundo Mewtwo, a really good Mewtwo. That's it. That's all I want. But the thing that sucks is tomorrow on Saturday, it will be Mega Mewtwo X. The fighting type one. I wanted to raid for Mega Mewtwo Y. Get the Mega Y energy. But I can't. Not unless I remote raid them. Which also costs link charges. Which I have over 3,000 that I haven't used since last year's Go Fest. So, like, why not? Well, the why not is because remote raid passes cost money. We'll see. We'll see how desperate I am to raid. I've also been seeing a lot of backlash online towards Sony for killing physical games, only going digital, and it has been wonderful to see. Yeah, fuck Sony. I'm hearing more and more hope that Nintendo will continue physical media. Because in Japan, Nintendo is big. You know, Nintendo is big on physical merch. You know, toys, plushes, cards. Well, you have it. You name it. Nintendo is big on the physical side. Even if recently their physical games have also been waning. Considering they also introduced game key cards, which is a glorified code in a box. I don't think I'm going to buy Pokopia, I'll be honest. Which really sucks. Not unless someone gives me the game, of course, but let's face it, nobody's going to do that. There's a lot of things that I will never buy myself, and I will never have unless someone gives it to me, like gifts it to me. Like AirPods. Yeah, no one's ever gonna give me AirPods as a gift. So I'll just never have them. I will never buy them. Because I don't trust myself to not lose them or break them. And I'm not gonna lie, AirPods would be really nice sometimes, like out in public, listening to something. Because at the moment, I just don't. I don't listen to my own things in public. You know, when I'm working my part-time, it'd be nice to have one AirPod in and I can listen to music as I do it. Yeah, at the moment, I just don't. And at my rate, I never will. Oh well, my hearing has been damaged by by earbuds and headphones enough. But yeah, the backlash towards Sony has been beautiful to see. Even though, like I said before, I don't see them changing their minds, and the fact that it came out, news came out that they've already informed their factory that actually produces the physical discs. They've already been informed to reconfigure the factory for other purposes. Yeah, that's not getting turned around anytime soon at all, if even. Okay, well, let's talk about the shows before I run out of time. Okay, so Spider Noir, episode 6. This episode opens up with a dark, stormy night as Ben packs up all his things to leave. He even leaves money for Janet, and plans to leave his photo with Ruby behind. Just when he goes to pack up his suit, his senses warn him that Ogden is outside Ben's door. Ben points a gun at him as a precaution. Ogden explains he was in the war with Ben. He was called Freckles. In fact, later in the episode, we actually get the update, or we get revealed that. So the previous episode, when Ben freed the men in the cells, Flint grabbed onto one of the Germans, I think, and another person behind Flint helped him stab the person. That was Ogden. So yeah, anyways, Ogden explains he was with Ben in the war. He was called Freckles. Why does he look so old if the war was only 15 years ago? It's because his mutation causes him to age rapidly. In reality, Ogden is only like, what do you say, 36? Or 35? He'll turn 36 if he lives to see that age. Ogden doesn't want Robbie's story to be published, because it would stop all of Faber's work to save them. He also says he knows who and what Ben is, that he was there when Ben was bit. And the fact that had Ben not changed his name, he would have found him long ago. Ah, interesting. Ben changed his name. So maybe Ben really is Peter Parker, but he changed his name to Ben Reilly. Maybe. There's no confirmation on that, but maybe. That would explain why they changed, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Man Noir, into Ben Reilly. Not only for the legal reasons, like the whole contracts about Peter Parker not being able to drink, smoke, swear, what have you. But, like, not only would this explain why he's not Peter Parker, this would also circumvent around the legal reasons. You know what? No, I'll do this before I reset. So yeah, Ben changed his name after the war so no one would find him. Maybe Ben Reilly really was Peter Parker at one point. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, Ben refuses to help because Robbie won't listen, and he's leaving town. Starting over. Leaving the spider behind. So, as Ben sees Ogden out, he hits him with an injection, knocking him out. So, Faber and Ogden take Ben to their secret lab and begin experimenting. Ben being restrained gives him flashbacks to the war. Let's see. And in those flashbacks to the war, we see Ben beginning to change after he was bit. I was about to say, I don't see any more Mime Juniors. Can you believe we have not found once yet an outbreak that spawns a second horde of Alpha Mime Juniors? Anyway, so we see Ben beginning to change after he was bit. He pulls webs out of his wrists, and his hands stick to things. He also twitches a lot. In the med ward, Ben explains he was cut open, torn apart, put back together, and they learned nothing. Faber reveals she is doing this because she lost her son. Her son being Ogden. She's doing this to save her son from rapidly aging and dying. And then Faber says it was actually Kat who told her Ben's identity. You know, probably would have been smart for Kat to go to Ben first and tell him this. Even though Ben would have said no, she still should have gone to Ben first instead of just blurting out his secret identity. Anyway, so Ben begins to lose consciousness as Faber takes more blood, and Ogden starts to second guess. Ogden is apologetic of all this, gives Ben water, as Ben sees keys on the wall he could use to escape. Oops. So, after some examination, Faber realizes that Ben's blood is rather normal. Faber can't get answers from Ben's blood, so she needs to harvest genetic material from his organs. She sedates him and prepares to harvest. As Ben breathes in the gas through the mask, he hallucinates the mask turning into a giant spider, then hallucinates the war medics cutting him open, and then when they do cut him open, spiders come out. Ugh. Anyone like me who are scared of spiders? Ugh. Anyways, he goes on a huge trip where he sees Ruby, then he sees the spider separate from himself. He sees a lot more. Then wakes up, still restrained. So Faber, looking under a microscope, looking at Ben's liver material under a microscope, she has found her cure. Anyway, so Ben manages to web the keys over to himself and free himself. Faber injects her son with the cure, and it works! He turns young again! feel like you probably should have tested this on someone else first. Just in case. Just in case it goes wrong for your son, but whatever. Had she done that, then she would have been probably hassled to make more of this, like, quickly. Anyway, so Faber bets Robbie's stories has been posted by now, so she wants to pack up and run. But Ogden wants to give the antidote to Ben and cure the rest. His mother refuses. Faber knows that if they get caught, they'll be thrown in jail because they did kidnap Ben and do a lot of human experiments. So Faber has a gun ready to kill Ben, but Ogden, he's willing to do it. He asks his mother for the gun, saying he should be the one to do it. So we also see Silvermane is on his way to see Faber to get a list of all power people from the camp. Silvermane wants an army of superpowered people to work for him. Okay, so Ben freed himself, he gets up, but is still delirious from the injection. And, of course, Ogden wants to help Ben, seeing as he saved his life. Technically twice now. First when he freed Ogden, and now giving Ogden his youth back. Silvermane shows up, and it was indeed Robbie's paper that told him about the lab. Robbie's paper has already been posted, or published. So then the whole world now knows about Dr. Althea Faber's experiments. Ogden, of course, lets Ben leave, but then goes back with his mom to protect her against Silvermane and his men. Silvermane, Flint, Lonnie, Dirk all walk in on Faber as she bottles up 1 dose of an antidote. It's even blue! Like, it even looks like the anti-serum in the PlayStation Spider-Man game. Spider-Man characters have parallels, I suppose. Okay, so Dirk, he's also looking pretty rough. Much worse than before. He has a bunch of red veins all over his face and eye. Remember what the show established earlier in previous episodes. The more they use their powers, the quicker it kills them. Okay, so Faber lies to them. Hold on. Yeah, so Faber lies to them that Ogden has died, and that there are still others like them currently present in the facility. So Silvermane tells her to lead the way. Show me where my soon-to-be army will be. Alright, so Ben sneaks in right when they leave and changes into his suit. Ooh, what is this? What is this? It's Mr. Mime again. He gets his suit back and he changes in. But he also finds the bottle of antidote. Conveniently, Faber labeled it antidote. How nice of her. Faber brings them to where all the others who have mutated and died are. They are just now in tubes, in containers. And the guys are horrified of this because everyone who was mutated, those were all of their brothers in arms in the war. So our characters, they kind of get the wrong idea. Though you kind of can't blame them for getting the wrong idea. They start blaming her like they killed them instead of helping them. But I actually believe Faber when she says she actually was genuinely trying to help them find a cure. Even if she really was finding a cure for her son, she was still trying to find a cure nonetheless. So the guys turn on Faber as she quote-unquote killed their brothers-in-arms from the war. Anyway, so Dirk shocks Faber, then Ogden shoots at him. Eventually a fire breaks out because, electric powers. And both Ogden and Faber are left to die. So Ben escapes with his life injured, his secret safe, and the one dose of an antidote. He manages to escape just as the fire engulfs the facility, explodes, and presumably kills both Althea Faber and her son Ogden. But hey, Ben got out, his secret safe, and he got his bottle. What? He got his bottle on the hands of the antidote. Yep. He got his hands on the bottle of antidote. Now the question is, what will Ben do with the antidote? Because he can't exactly trust someone to replicate it, right? There's only one dose. So what will Ben do? Will he selfishly take it? Because ever since Ruby died, he wanted nothing more than to be normal again. To be human again. To leave the spider part of his life behind. Will he be selfish and take it? Or will he use it on one of the three left who are dying? Flint, Lonnie, or Dirk? Will he use it on one of them? Will he be selfish and use it on himself? Or will he appease Cat by saving Flint? And you know what? In my headcanon, Ben Reilly did used to be Peter Parker. In my headcanon, he was. Before he got bit, and then he had to change his name to Ben Reilly to hide. In my headcanon, that's the case. Until further proven wrong, this is my headcanon. If anything, that kind of would suggest that this could be the same Spider-Man from the animated Into the Spider-Verse film. I mean, so what he's known as the Spider instead of Spider-Man, right? Maybe I should rewatch that film and watch. Did anyone ever call him Spider-Man? Did he ever refer to himself as Spider-Man? Or just the Spider? I doubt they called him the Spider. Because this show wasn't even planned until after that film came out. I should probably rewatch that film, actually. And check. But yeah, it's like, well, if he's in another universe, he doesn't really need to go by his fake name, Ben Reilly. He could go by his original name, Peter Parker. Especially if you met your own doppelgangers, who are also Peter Parker and have spider abilities, right? So if Ben Reilly really did used to be Peter Parker, just changed his name, then that could mean that this is the same character. Could. I don't think the timing lines up, though. Because in the film, he said on his Earth, it's the 1930s. But doesn't this show take place around the 1980s? I could be wrong about that, though. I gotta double check. Unless it really is the 30s. Which, maybe. The war in France, they say that was 15 years ago. I don't recall there being a war in France during, like, the 1960s. Then again, I don't really know history that much. But damn, only 2 episodes left of this amazing show. I really hope it gets a season 2. I really hope it gets picked up for more, because I love this show. It is actually amazing. You know, it's actually believe it or not, it's actually refreshing to get a different take on quote-unquote Spider-Man. It's actually very refreshing, because for the past several iterations, we have had nothing but Peter Parker, radioactive spider bite, Uncle Ben. Close enough with the MCU version with Tom Holland. Close enough, but you know what I mean. For the past almost 20 years of iterations, it was always Peter Parker, you know? But this, it's actually very refreshing to get something different. Like, imagine if we got a live-action Spider-Man 2099 show, or literally just anything else. Anything that is Spider-Man adjacent. And when I say Spider-Man adjacent, I don't mean Venom, Morbius, Craven. You know, I'm talking actual Spider-Man. Hell, even like a live-action Spider-Gwen. Like, Spider-Noir has been so refreshing for a new Spider-Man experience. And I know this is going to be a huge stretch, considering Spider-Noir is on Prime Video, not Disney Plus. Imagine if we get a crossover. Imagine some multiverse shenanigans happen, and we see our Spider-Noir, Ben Reilly, interact with the Avengers, the X-Men. I would love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. Imagine during Secret Wars or whatever, like the culmination of the multiverse saga, which has sucked, by the way, aside from a couple of gems. Imagine, remember in Crisis on Infinite Earths, we had a quick montage of several Earths and cameos? That's what I want to see Marvel do. I mean, I feel like asking for them to give each cameo a full-blown scene, like a genuine scene, is probably not going to happen. So just a quick cameo showing all the different Earths that are affected, that'd be nice. Oh, also, on my way to work earlier this morning, I heard on the radio an advertise for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and how it supposedly takes place 4 years after. The radio, I heard, said, we follow with Peter Parker 4 years after, and it's like, where did they get that information from? Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, I don't know. But I want to know, where did that information come from? That this is 4 years after No Way Home. Where did that come from? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. You know? Well, we'll see in the film if they ever say how long it's been. But I just want to know, where did that source come from? Where did that piece of information come from? That it has been 4 years since No Way Home. Technically, in real life, it has been more than 4 years. But I mean, like, in film, right? In universe. Unless she actually meant in real life. I don't know. Because if it is 4 years later, then wouldn't this film take place around 2028? Peter Parker's body would be about 22 years old, but legally he'd be about 27 because he was blipped for 5 years. I also can't stand that they named it the Blip. Why didn't you just name it the Snap? It was so stupid that they called it the Blip. I hate that. I wish they called it the Snap, because it actually would have made sense! But you know how these, companies are. Whenever the fandom comes up with their own term, no, we can't use it. We have to come up with something different. Kind of like how Pokemon, instead of calling them the starters, they're called first partner Pokemon. Or, instead of pseudo-legendaries, they're technically officially known as powerhouse Pokemon. We can't ever use fan terms, no, no, no. We have to come up with something different for the sake of... because. Sure, they can canonize fan theories, kind of like Peter Parker being the kid in the Iron Man helmet at the Stark Expo. They can canonize fan theories, but fan terms? No, no, no. We have to steer clear of those. Okay, let me drink some water and then let's go over the amazing digital circus because we have a lot to discuss for this episode. And this here is episode 6. So I only have 2 episodes left. Technically 3. Not technically, but at least 3 episodes worth of run times. Because each episode has been like 25 to 30 minutes. But episode 9, the final episode, is like an hour long. So that's the length of 2 episodes. Okay, so, The Amazing Digital Circus episode 6. This episode opens up with an ad for the Favorite Character Award by Kane. Okay, so Jax and Pomni run into Zooble hiding in a flower pot from Kane, not wanting to participate in his next in-house adventure. Why a flower pot and not her room? She says Kane has been checking up on her room lately. Another damn Luxio. Okay. So, yeah. Why is Zooble hiding in a flower pot and not her own room? She says Kane has been checking up on her room lately, and when she doesn't respond, he just starts singing Daisy Bell. Nah, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see Kane do that. And of course, Jax calls Kane just to spite Zooble. Kane just T-poses and glides right in. Well, Kane has now found Zooble, and she needs to participate in today's adventure because it's a team adventure, and it needs even numbers. Well, Bubble will also be recording them for the press of the Favorite Characters Award. And at first, Kane really was going to put them through some total drama physical challenges, kind of like the, what's it called? The American fitness test, but extreme. Though Zooble rejects Kane's idea. Kane is growing frustrated with Zooble and her refusal to participate. We've seen this frustration build up the past few episodes. Zooble tells Kane what she really wants. She wants the ability to have sex. Sex being censored. And this almost breaks Kane until he has to, like, reboot and just glosses over what Zooble says. Yeah, it's because of this, Zooble asks Ragatha if she has any of that stupid sauce left. Which, why would she, right? It would make absolutely no sense that she would have more of that stupid sauce. Kane has a line about assumptions. It makes an ass out of you and Ming. Who the hell is Ming? Well, a whole NPC named Ming walks in. Walks in? A whole NPC named Ming walks in. Also, Pomni points out the fact that Kane just said the word ass and wasn't censored, but when Pomni says it, yeah, she's censored. Kane now comes up with a new thing to do. Trust exercises. He makes a private room and gives them a loaded gun. Person A goes, or at least this was the initial plan. Person A goes in and empties the gun. Person B will have to trust Person A empty the gun and shoot themselves. Person A also has to trust Person B. Trust that Person B won't just shoot them. Okay, so it's Jack's turn to do this. Jax will do this first, but he wasn't listening. So Kane just transfers all the rules to his mind. Jax now knowing the rules, he just points the gun and shoots Ragatha. Why? The hell? And Kane just gives up over this and just gives them guns to shoot each other with. Kane just flats out gives up. Because he claims he has an award show to prepare for. Anyways, yeah, Kane has to prepare for the favorite character awards, so leaves them 5 minutes to get into teams. Zooble and Gangle are a team. She wants to go crazy and shoot a Tommy gun while smiling and laughing maniacally. Pomni wants to team with Ragatha, but she actually says no, claiming not to want Kingler. I actually said Kingler. Claiming not to want Kinger to be paired with Jax, or Ragatha herself to be paired with Jax. Their friendship seems on the line for some reason. From what I've witnessed so far in the episodes, there hasn't really been anything to make Pomni and Ragatha drift apart. What? Whatever. So Pomni goes with Jax and Ragatha with Kinger. The timer starts and the guns disappear. This isn't like the Hunger Games where there's a center stage full of weapons where everyone runs towards or runs away from to get away from everyone arming themselves with weapons. So yeah, the timer starts and the guns disappear. Also, Ragatha lost one of her 3 lives because Jax shot her. That's absolute bullshit that counted. Kane, Kane claiming he has to prepare for the awards, is just chilling in the air and tells them the guns have been scattered. Everyone runs off, and now alone, Kane pulls out pictures of the computer. What does that mean? I have a theory about this. I'll mention my theory at the end, because something else gets revealed later on. So yeah, Kane just pulls out pictures of the computer. And he just stares at it. He kind of stares at it the way Homelander was staring through the wall, watching Madeline pump her breast milk. So, Kinger spawns a butterfly that gives Ragatha a heart back. He just made it up. A part of me thought, is Kane gonna punish Kinger for coming up with rules himself, or maybe cheating? Because Ragatha did lose a heart. Somewhat not fair and square, but whatever. I was actually wondering, will Kinger be punished for cheating? No, nothing comes from this. It's literally just a random moment in the episode to give Ragatha a heart back. So, Jax, this is the big reveal right here, kinda. Jax finds a gun, and engraved is not only the logo of CNA, but what CNA stands for. Cain and Abel. CNA stands for Cain and Abel. Who the hell is Abel, but more importantly, Cain? What does any of this mean? Two possibilities. One, the company is actually named after Cain and Abel, like not the biblical people, but actual two people named Cain and Abel who founded the company, and maybe, as I theorize, Cain is a computer AI put into the game, and Cain is named after Cain of Cain and Abel. Or maybe Cain is human, and he is Cain of Cain and Abel. And this is kind of my theory. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Holden Radcliffe, he actually got killed before he was put into the framework, remember? Ada slit both of his wrists and then put him into the framework. So Radcliffe in reality is dead, but he still lives on in the framework. If he were to leave the framework, he's dead. Right? That's kind of my theory. Maybe Cain is dead in real life, but his consciousness still lives on in the Amazing Digital Circus computer program. Maybe that's why he is so fixated on staring at his pictures of the computer. He wants to go back to reality, but he can't because he's dead in reality. He has to stay here in the digital circus, or else he will die. Well, that's my theory, at least. Or maybe Cain, the computer teeth and eyes Cain that we know, is a copy of the real-life Cain. Well, those are just some theories, but CNA stands for Cain and Abel. We still haven't learned who Abel is yet. Anyway, so Jax finds a gun that has not only CNA on it, but also Cain and Abel. It's literally just the By and Large logo again, but just CNA instead of B&L. Pomni plans to just let Jax shoot everyone because Pomni doesn't want to shoot her friends. Jax convinces her none of this is real, and to let loose. Oh, by the way, one thing I want to point out that I did notice, but was not pointed out by the episode itself, Jax does have a tail. Last episode, while stargazing, Jax points out what happened to his tail. He does have a tail. He actually does. Anyway, so Jax's tail aside. Yeah, Jax explains now how they're all archetypes. Jax is the funny one who breaks the fourth wall. Ragatha is the cheerful one, Gango is the sad one, Kinger is the crazy one, Zubul is the grumpy one, and Pomni hasn't figured it out yet. And the face Pomni made when Jax said that, this face, how is this not a meme yet? Like, actually, how is this not a meme? Look at this. I literally sent that to No Shame in Feeding, and I'm like, how is this not a meme yet? So Pomni finally lets loose. She turns her gun sideways like a black guy and goes evil for the day. So Zubul snipes Kinger. The gunfire alerts Jax and Pomni, so Jax goes after Ragatha, Pomni goes after King. And what's interesting is the shots have to be fatal for it to count. Because Ragatha's hands get shot off, but that doesn't count. It isn't until she's shot in the head that it actually counts. Just wanted to point that out. Anyway, so Ragatha gets cornered by Jax, and she claims to know what Jax is doing with Pomni, almost calling him out on his evil plan. Getting close with Pomni to corrupt her. Didn't I mention this last time? How whatever they brought up about Jax once having a friend here? Didn't I bring up the idea that maybe Ragatha doesn't want Pomni to get too close to Jax, because maybe she'll get corrupted by his bad influence. Didn't I mention that last time? Oh no, my berries. Oh, I still have them. Good. I thought I didn't save after using them again. Even Jax maybe tries to play it off. He just goes, huh? He's about to shoot her, but then she uses her finger to plug the gun and it fires back on Jax. Looney Tunes style. None of them knew that would work. None of them knows how that would work. And because of this, Jax not only loses one of his 3 lives, but he just unloads on her. He just empties a clip onto her. So Ragatha gets sent to the loser corner, a dark room with an aquarium tank, and it actually doesn't look that bad. You know, it actually looks like there would be quite a vibe in there. So Pomni shows back up, and the two of them team back up again. Jax, having his frustrated look, immediately changed back to his goofy smile. It almost seems like Jax was feeling frustration after being called out on his plan to corrupt Pomni, maybe. Okay, so Zooble and Gangle have a moment talking. Gangle is scared Jax will be mad she didn't team up with him. She's scared that he's going to seek revenge and make it painful for her. Damn, Gangle is what? Yeah, Gangle is right. Zooble doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve to think about Jax, even when he's not there, even when he has nothing to do with their current position. Gangle kind of has self-esteem issues. She very much doubts herself. Zooble I almost said confronts. Zooble comforts her by telling her she has to choose to love herself. It's not natural, but intentional. As nice of a message as that is, well, that's never gonna happen with someone like me. I'm never gonna be able to do that. Well, she feels better, and they plan to kill Pomni and Jax. Speaking of which, Jax and Pomni talk about why Jax is afraid of corn. He has trypophobia, the fear of lots of little holes. You want to know something that kind of freaks me out? Like, this sounds very weird, but something that freaks me out is sound rapidly increasing. You know how when you drop a ping pong ball and it just keeps on bouncing until it eventually stops? Well, it bounces and then it just keeps on bouncing repeatedly faster as the buoyancy wears off. That I don't know, that sound kind of freaks me out. Like something that just clicks but then rapidly goes faster. Like it just rapidly increases until it's like much faster, very fast. For some reason that sound kind of freaks me out. It's weird, it's strange, it's a completely I don't know if I would call it a fear, but it just kind of freaks me out when sound like that rapidly increases. Anyway, so Jax has trypophobia. That's why he's scared of corn. Anyway, so they run into Kinger in a pitch black room where only gunfire lights up the dark. Well, Kinger gets taken out, and he gets sent to the loser corner. He's now with Ragatha, and she seems troubled. She actually starts breaking down, thinking she failed Pomni, just like how she feels she failed Jax. She claims trying to get on their good side just drove them away. And I'm thinking to myself, what? I never felt resentment for someone being too nice to me. And like, I can get Jax, he's an asshole, but Really, Pomni? You actually feel distance from Ragatha for being too nice to you? Are you kidding me? I don't know, maybe it's because I don't really feel too much kindness in my life. If I was in this, I would gravitate way more toward Ragatha than I ever would towards Jax, let me put it that way. Even though what we kinda learn about Jax at the end of the episode, not really, but kinda, I'll get to that. Yeah, so Ragatha is feeling down about herself. So then Kinger does another one of his legendary comfort talks. Kinger is absolutely full of wisdom. He kind of tells Ragatha the same thing that Zubul told Gangle, that she needs to choose to accept herself. Except that she just can't be there for everyone, and that's okay. There's there's an underlying theme about self-love in this episode. Oh, I wish it could help me, but nothing can help me at this point. Anyways, so Ragatha does feel a lot better, and their whole talk was filmed by Bubble for the committee. Anyway, so Jax and Pomni chase Zubul and Gangle through the circus's tubes. Gangle finds the Tommy gun and does what she desired the most. She sprays them like crazy, only she didn't hit them at all. She just ended up breaking the tube so they fall out. Breaking the tube, that's a very Happy Tree Friends moment right there with the water slide. Anyway, so they all fall out. Gangle and Pomni get into a standoff, but Gangle is the one shot and eliminated. Zubul, now left alone, runs to her room where she literally arms herself with appendages, with more appendages, and she also just has flashbangs in her room. This is when Jax and Pomni taunt her by singing Daisy Bell. Now, if anyone else who's new to this show, like me, if anyone else is new to this show like me who hasn't seen the vision of Pomni porn, maybe this'll change your mind after hearing her sing. Maybe this was the turning point for the internet, even though Kane said that happened after episode 1. Maybe hearing Pomni sing what really drove the internet towards creating all their degeneracy. Anyway, so I gotta say, it actually sounded nice hearing Jax and Pomni sing Daisy Bell. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know this song. But you know what? What this does tell me is that they also remember songs and music from the real world. Just not their names. Anyways, Jackson remembers he has a key to Zuba's room. Hey, he actually remembered that. I'm glad they brought that back. They remembered that was the case. Jack's saying he has keys to everywhere. So the door opens and they get ambushed by Zubo. So Pomni runs after her, leaving Jax behind, and this is where we see some more things hinted. Jax looks at Kaufmo's door, his picture with an X over it. He then looks at the frog character's door, also with an X. This is telling me that whoever this frog character was likely also abstracted. And what's interesting is, I tried to look in the background. There were pictures on doors in the background of characters who are not NPCs. And those pictures of characters also had X's on them. Not only does this tell me, obviously, that there were more characters here at one point who also abstracted, but that there's less than I thought. Because we've seen the doors, majority of them have NPCs on the pictures, not actual colorful cartoon characters. So yes, there have been other characters here before, but not that many. Only a handful of characters have been here prior. Like Kaufmo, like this frog character, like Kinger's wife. And who knows, maybe like a handful more have been here before Pomni. Okay, so Pomni, with one bullet left, ricochets the bullet to make Zubul drop all her guns. Then Jax and Pomni both finish her. Zubul goes to the loser corner where Gango, Ragatha, and Kinger all have cat ears and whiskers for some reason. Ah, typical Gango, you gotta love her innocence. As long as you don't give her a Tommy gun, that is. It's also interesting to see that, there's no swearing allowed here in this show because it's a show meant to be enjoyed for all ages, but then they have hyper-realistic guns. In this episode, they wield a gun. Okay, so Pomni is now super happy that her team won. She's so happy she hugs Jax, and he seems almost disgusted. He pushes her off. So Pomni now thinks this is a time one of them betrays the other, leaving only one winner. So she turns around and points her gun at Jax, but Jax doesn't wanna. He just allows her to betray him. He wants her to shoot him. But now Pomni doesn't want to. She thinks they can both be winners. But Jax just calls her lame for not following through. So this scene, Jax turns his douchebag level to max, saying they aren't a team, they aren't even friends. He'd only forget about Pomni and move on if she abstracted. Some back and forth, Pomni eventually does throw hands with Jax, like actually gets into a fight with him. So it's because of this, Jax continues his facade of not caring about anyone. Not caring about anyone in this circus. Only causing them pain for his own fun and amusement. And he almost begs Pomni, "That's all there is to me. There's nothing more to dig and find about me. So please stop looking." What this tells me, we can almost immediately tell what Jax is doing. Hell, we've seen it before too. Persona 3, Makoto Yuki. He has lost so much that he would rather not form bonds and connections out of fear of losing the people he cares about. Because if he does lose them after creating a close bond, then the pain will be immeasurable. So he'd rather just distance himself and shut everyone out to avoid building connection. That way, if anyone did go, he wouldn't care as much. It wouldn't hurt as much. This seems like the exact same thing Jax is doing. Only Makoto wasn't a dick about it. The way I see it, Jax is hard pushing everyone away. That way, if any of them were to abstract, he never would have cared about them. He would not feel any sadness. He would just be able to move on with his almost eternal existence stuck as a cartoon bunny character with a tail. So this is how I perceive Jax's action as. He just pushes everyone away so that if they were to die, if they were to abstract, he wouldn't feel anything. He certainly wouldn't feel pain. Like, Jax is hard deflecting everything. And you can kind of see some of the cracks show. But Jax, he is sticking with this facade, this persona that he has put up. This skyrocketed douchebag who does not give a shit about any of them. When I feel like deep down that's not the case. So what I said earlier about if I was here, I would hella side with Ragatha over Jax. Like, if I'm watching the show and I could pick up on Jax's, true nature inside like this, then I can only imagine, you know, if I was there with them. Like, I wouldn't... if I was in this, I wouldn't completely abandon Jax, but I also wouldn't let him pull away like this. No matter how hard he tries to push me back. Anyway, so... it is now time for the Favorite Character Award, hosted by Kane. Of course it is. Pomni and Ragatha seem to have made up. What even did you have to make up over, right? Whoa, she was too nice to you? Like, what? It almost seems like a nothing problem in my eyes, but what do I know? Maybe I missed the point somewhere. Anyway, so Jax goes to the bathroom where he almost has a panic attack. Maybe this is... maybe having a panic attack is just one step before being abstracted. Which would have been terrible timing, considering they had an award ceremony to attend. But thankfully, Jax is just fine. In fact, disappearing guy walks out of a stall. He says, "Oh, I assume he's saying, "Oh, sorry. Didn't know anyone else was here." The gag that is disappearing guy shows up again. Anyway, so, the award for biggest sailor mouth goes to Zooble, who actually is high off of stupid sauce. She even took it in the eye, like Ragatha, because she has no mouth. Anyway, so here it is. The award for favorite character goes to... me! Kane! I mean Ming. He misread it. How did he misread it? Did the paper say me? Or did it say Kane? Like, how did Kane misread Ming for me? Like, it didn't say the word me. Like, it wasn't spelled out M-E on the paper. So how did he misread it? Actually, Ming did call him out, like, you shouldn't have assumed you won the award. Now we both look stupid. So he just assumed it was gonna be him! Damn, to be called out by your own NPCs, huh, Kane? Anyways, that's the episode. Except, there is a post-credit scene. Not like it really matters. Kane, at the very end, you know, in the post-credit scene, he does look at the vote results. He wanted to look, okay, just how many voted for me as favorite character? And he actually got 0 votes. I think Pomni and Kinger were tied for most popular. If not tied, then they were the runner-ups. I didn't count how many votes they each had. And this almost seems to hurt Kane deeply. I mean, we may be mad suspicious of Kane, but you gotta admit, if you were in a competition, some sort of award show, where it was awarding favorite character, and you got none of the votes, not anyone voted for you, not even your own NPCs voted for you. Damn, that would kind of hurt. Okay, so the Damazing Agital Circus. This was a big episode. Again, because there's so little episodes, each one is compressed. Sure, they have their own plot, but each episode does have quote-unquote big reveals, a hint at, you know, the reasoning for all of this happening. We have our second ever mention of CNA, and we learned what CNA stands for, Cain and Abel. Well, we've met Cain. Who the hell is Abel? What happened to the sound in the game? the game kind of glitched out there. Yeah, who the hell is Abel? So, CNA in real life is a company called Cain and Abel. Well, we know who Cain is, or rather, we can come up with theories of who Cain is. Like I said, the Cain we've been following is either an AI named after whoever Cain is in real life, or it really is the real life human Cain, just stuck in this world also. Because the way he looks at the pictures kind of seems like he really wants to go back as well. Either Cain is dead in real life and he's stuck to be alive here, or Cain really is stuck here. Like, if my theory is true, which I highly doubt, if the real-life human Cain is really dead, and the only way to preserve his consciousness was to upload it into the computer, and this is the only way Cain can stay alive in this world, being the teeth and eyes Cain that we know, but his real-life body is dead. I guess it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that he embraced no longer being human. He embraced being a cartoon character. And when Pomni showed up, another human has joined us. I guess that could work. He doesn't see himself as human anymore, so when Pomni showed up, another human is here. I guess that could work. You're so close. Ah, yes, instead of thinking about things that are actually important in life, like, you know, money, finances, real estate, life partners. No, I'm thinking about this stuff. How many of my CNA theories did you hear? Or did you just show up? Yet so wrong. So we now know what CNA stands for. But we still haven't met Cain. What? We still haven't met Abel. We've met Cain. We have not met Abel. And you know what? This kind of makes me think. Even though this is not important, we obviously know Cain and Abel from the Bible. The first sons born of Adam and Eve, I think. Like the first man to be born. Cain and Abel. I highly doubt that the Cain we met and whoever Abel is are the actual biblical Cain and Abel. So, boy. So, this is either, I don't know, brothers in present day who really were born and given the names Cain and Abel, or two friends, Cain and Abel, who just happened to come together and form a company, or Cain and Abel really aren't even the names of whoever founded CNA, and they just chose the name Cain and Abel for their company. And then they named their computer AI Cain. But where's Abel? Not like this has any relevance. Probably. Cain did kill Abel. What's interesting is Cain was played by Clark Kent himself, Tom Welling. And then we had a different Cain and Abel. Well, actually, let me see. Cain and Abel, I've seen these characters in Lucifer, Hazbin Hotel, The Sandman. So all of this theory material spawned just by telling us what CNA stood for. Oh boy, 2 episodes left. And then I will know all the succulent answers. I will be able to dive right in, dig right in. Next episode, I think, is some sort of beach episode. Oh god. Pomni in a swimsuit. Oh god. What has the internet done to twist that? And I think the title for the next episode is just a bunch of gibberish. Unless the title episode is code to be, well, decoded. I gotta look into this. I gotta see if I can figure out if that title means anything. Oh no, wait, there's 3 episodes left. My bad. I can't count. Yes, I'm on episode. I finished episode 6. And there's 9 more, and there's 9 episodes altogether. Yes! 2 more episodes. You know, there is one character that has now been suspiciously sticking out. Jax. Only because he breaks the 4th wall. I mean, this is a computer program that's literally called The Amazing Digital Circus. Maybe Jax knows that he's in a computer game and that there could be people watching. But he somehow knows where the camera is to look right at it and break the 4th wall. Hmm. Well, I'm gonna end this in a couple minutes. I will also be continuing my alpha hunt after this. What episode was this? I think episode 6, the one where they all have guns. I wonder what will be revealed next episode. 3 episodes left. That's right. And then I will be done with this series forever. Because there is no more. Once the show's over, I will never talk about it again. That's it. This tiny little series, that's it. Unless I think about other theories, which at that point, what's the point? Because I will already know all the answers. Assuming the finale tells me all the answers. How's Murder Drones, by the way? Is that worth checking out? Looked fun. So you haven't checked it out yet? More direct horror. Ooh. Sounds intriguing. You've seen clips. You know, I was thinking, once I'm done Spider Noir and Amazing Digital Circus, I think it's time for me to go over some of the films that I never got a chance to. Some films that came out earlier this year that I haven't had a chance to go over. Because, ignoring your comment there, because the next series that should be coming out, there's two actually coming out soon. Those being Walking Dead, Dead City Season 3, and Lanterns. So until those come out, we have a couple of films we had yet to go over. Ready or Not 2, Exit 8, Project Hail Mary. Wasn't there more? Whatever, 3 films to go over is still a lot. Oh, actually, remember how I said there was this old-ass film I wanted to watch? The Ramen Girl? That came out in like 2008. That was almost 20 years ago. Well, actually, I've been seeing clips of another food-related film, because that's all my fat ass cares about, food-related films. Because yes, nothing like other people eating intrigues me more. So, I've seen clips floating around of this like Korean film of a dude who just eats a bunch of spicy food, like ultra spicy ramen. At first, he can't take it. But the more he eats, the more he appreciates the complex flavors. And then he gets addicted to spicy food, regardless of if it destroys his toilet the next day. And it's on Netflix. I may check it out. I don't really watch Korean films, not because I'm not interested, but, well, they never really interested me. But a Korean film all about food? Say less! If there's one thing my fat ass gravitates towards, it's food. Okay, this will be the last check. We may not have gotten what we wanted today. Gee, who would have thought? But we did get another Luxio. Actually, 2. And then there's still this old film I mentioned quite a while ago, but I never checked out. The Terminal. That film came out, what, in like 2004? You know, is it just me, or do old films just have a certain magic to them? You know? Old film, you can tell the quality was just a little bit different. Not only was the writing more competent than these days that we have now, but also old films, you could just tell, like, the camera quality. Yes, they were the best cameras at the time. They're not the best cameras that we have, say, today, but I don't know, there's just some sort of charm to older films where it's actually just people pretending in front of a camera in an actual setting. No green screens that we have nowadays, no studios, like it was actually people on set, on location, just acting for a film. Yes, we have that now, but nowadays it's like more glorified, more monetized, more monopolized, more other big words, capitalized. In the past, films just had a different feel to them. Films felt more authentic, felt more genuine back then. Is it just me who feels this? I wish we got movies like that nowadays. Nowadays, it's all just corporate slop. Yes, they're enjoyable, but still, it's like... While films nowadays can still be made with passion and soul, it just doesn't capture the same feeling as old films do. And I'm not even talking just like old, early 2000s films. You know, like even films from the 80s, the 90s. Sure, the quality may be very outdated, but they just had a certain charm to them that we just don't get anymore these days. I miss films like those. Even a low-budget film, even a more grounded, realistic film, kind of like Send Help, I went over like a month ago. Man, that still had the, like, cinematic border, the cinematic aspect ratio. It's like, god damn it. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy. Anyways, actually, last check, and then I'll go. And then I'll go. By the way, don't you just love how Amazing Digital Circus introduced the whole concept of exit doors, and they never followed up on it? They never even followed up the void either. Anyways, I'm gonna call it here. See you guys next time.